Hi, I'm Tamara Lackey, and on this episode of reDefine show for Adorama TV, I speak with Nicole S, or Nicolesy as she's known, about her fabulous food photography and her educational style. She also shares some really great tips on how to take better photographs. Check it out. Hi, Nicole.
Hi, Tamara.
Do people ever call you Nicolesy?
Yeah, people do. Some people think it's my name.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I gotta be honest, the first time we met, I was like, hi, Nicolesy.
It doesn't hurt my feelings. It's kind of like Madonna or, one name, whatever.
It just means your brand is working.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah.
Really. Tell us a little bit about what you do and how you got to where you are.
Yeah, so right now I'm doing education. I have a website and I create ebooks.
What's it called?
Nicolesy.com. So that's primarily what I do. And it's all, I photograph whatever I want. I do a little bit of stock photography on the side. But I didn't start out that way. I was actually in the Navy is when I really started, and I started doing stock photography because I wanted to become a better photographer.
What were you doing in the Navy exactly?
I was a Korean linguist.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah. I didn't know that about you. Okay.
So I had photography since I was in high school, shooting film, and I was like, I really want to do digital photography. And I was stationed in Hawaii at the time, and I was struggling trying to find I wasn't an advanced photographer. I was still very amateur, very beginning, understood the, aperture, ISO, shutter speed, how to focus, how to, take proper compositions and whatnot, all the basics. But I still knew that I needed to kind of ramp it up and I needed to get better. I wanted to learn lighting, I wanted to learn post-processing, which is still I think they had Lightroom 1. It had just been coming out when I started, got my first digital.
They just called it Lightroom.
Yeah, right. So I was like, okay, I want to learn photography. And I was looking for classes and everything was super basic, like how to use your digital point and shoot. And I was like, this is not working. So I was just doing some research online. I think I found some sites like Strobist's website, I think was a big one at the very beginning, and maybe Scott Kelby at the time. And then I was like, oh, stock photography, what's this? This is kind of cool. So I just started getting involved with stock photography. I started making money with stock photography, very little at the beginning. Yeah. And then I realized I could actually make this work. So then about a year and a half later, I ended up separating from the military and pursuing it full time, and that grew. And then I kind of slowly transitioned from that to writing books, and then transitioned from that to kind of shaving off my stock photography stuff and really making education like in a self-employment type of, business, and whatever you'd call it, solopreneurship. So that kind of brought me to where I am today.
How did you start gravitating to really specializing in food photography, though?
That was just
Food's good?
Yes, well, everybody likes to eat, right?
Yeah.
I've always loved to cook. I was not very good at the very beginning, but really I wanted to challenge myself. And it did start with the stock photography because there were a few forums I was using iStock at the time, and people would want people to photograph, hey, here's a recipe, can you photograph this? And so I started doing that, and then I was like, food, this is really, really hard. So I challenged myself. I'm like, I'm gonna learn this. I'm gonna learn this, and I'm gonna get good at it.
Food photography is actually tougher than people think.
Yeah, so I studied, it's all self-taught, of course. I got books on food styling, and I just kind of did it. I just over and over and over and over, and then I kind of developed my own style. People would tell me when they'd see a photo, I'd be like, I knew that was yours before I even looked at it.
How would you define your style? Like if you had to use words to the visuals.
Clean, bright. That's a tough one. It's really hard to define your own style, isn't it?
It's almost like a dreamy quality to a lot of your images too.
Oh yeah?
Don't you think?
Yeah,
I think so. Yeah. For food, because food, you want to draw it in.
Right.
You want to be drawn in, and sometimes the really gritty kind of look of food isn't as pleasant. But you see that a lot.
Yeah, like the styled but kind of crumbs all over the place kind of look. Yeah. I don't tend to do a lot of that stuff. I also do a lot of the kind of straight on shots or maybe up a little bit higher as opposed to the flat down or the lay flat style, which is kind of a little bit more popular now. And I do a lot of little things, and of course everybody's style and my style kind of adapts and evolves over time. But yeah, like the photos I take now, I think they still kind of carry a lot of the same stylistic qualities that I started with, oh my gosh, how long was that? Like 2007 or 2006 that I started doing food photography and just kind of grew from there. So it's been about 10 years.
I'm going to make it super spontaneous.
Okay.
3 great tips you'd give to anybody who wants to get better at food photography.
Oh my gosh, I know. No, I like the no prepping.
Go.
Let's see here. 3 tips. And I just did a little talk on food photography today too, so I really should be prepared, right?
You really should be.
Okay. So, Here's one tip. So people like to photograph with a nice shallow depth of field, like nice soft blurry background. But sometimes it can be easy to think that cranking your aperture down to like 1.2 or whatever the lowest setting is going to get you the best results. And in reality, that's going to give you too much depth of field, or too much shallow depth of field, I guess. You want more depth of field. So I usually, get like techie. And if it depends on the lens I'm photographing with too. But I usually pull it back to maybe like f6, f8, f11, and my angles, whatever my angle is, and the lens that I'm using, I usually am able to get a really nice soft background. But that's one tip I would say.
That's a great tip, yeah.
Yeah. Another tip is make sure you are using the best quality of light that you possibly can. Whether that's a window light. You just don't want to have an orange tungsten overhead glowing grossness, because that can really, I think that's one of the things that, like, if you look on Yelp, people doing food photos in restaurants.
Yes.
And of course, I do photograph my food in restaurants. I'm not like the obnoxious food photographer at a restaurant, but give me a moment. No, it's more of like it's more of like click, put the phone away. But I don't do it if there's no light. If I'm sitting by a window, sometimes I strategically place myself there if I can. But if I'm sitting by a nice window, soft light coming in, sure, I'll do a quick photo, post it to Yelp, whatever, just for fun. But if the light is gold and gross, it just makes the food look really, really bad. And the last tip is, especially if you're photographing your own food at home, if you're cooking it and styling it and everything, the food will die. The food is going to be done after a little while. So you just have to kind of know to learn, like, how long can I photograph this before it's lost its luster, and it's no longer appetizing. So
well, just a couple of things that you said, I haven't really processed it this way before, but I think we have a coffee shop, and it's attached to our photography studio, and the amount of times people will post pictures of the coffee shop, and it comes up, I'm like, oh God, can you take that down? But they can't. I have no control over a third party, and you're just like, it's yellow and it's so unappetizing. That's not what it looks like. I want to go into every photo. That's not what it really looks like.
You could always position some nice LED lights.
I should do that.
Just around, or create a little photo spot.
Actually, that's not a bad idea.
Put your coffee here, and then make a little photo booth.
That's a great idea. Okay, I actually really like that. The other thing, though, I've noticed is trying to photograph coffee, like a foam. You are zooming to get a good foam shot, because really quickly it starts bubbling out and dropping down and caving in. But you're not kidding. So different foods die faster.
Sure.
Yeah. Where can people go if they want to learn more about not only what you do, but be able to get access to your courses?
Yeah, sure. Nicolesy.com. It's Nicolesy.com.
Okay, that's it.
That took you everywhere.
I was waiting for all the other things.
No, it's pretty straightforward.
The social medias
you get at Nicolesy everywhere pretty much, and if you Google search Nicolesy, I will probably show up. Yeah, it'll be.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Tamara.
Thank you so much, Nicole. Check us out here next time on Adorama TV. And don't forget, while we're gone, you can view all kinds of tutorials and web series and programs and some really great gear.